Welcome to All-in-One Discussion, the podcast where we discuss everything from movies to shows to music to games to whatever else I feel like talking about. I'm Julian Nevarez, and today we are here with Beats yet again. Welcome back, Beats. How are you doing?
What's up, man? Doing good.
Hell yeah. All right, so today's episode, we're going to be continuing last week's discussion on the Switch 2, but instead of talking about what we know is coming out and what has already been released, we're going to be talking about what we want to see come out. What are we hoping for? What are we dreaming about? What do we want to play? What Nintendo games do we think deserve to be brought to the Switch, and how would we switch to, and how we would do them? But before we jump into all that, let's start off with a highlight of the week. So a little highlight of the week for myself has been this game I've been playing called The 100-Line Last Defense Academy.
Ooh.
So it's a tactical RPG mixed with a little bit of like a visual novel kind of situation. So, which I didn't know. That I knew it was like a tactical RPG, which is one of my favorite genres of games. I love tactical RPGs, like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics and things. And it's been very interesting in the battles that I have had. But I've also I barely played the game, so I'm like a decent amount of hours in actually. But it's an RPG; it's long, so I barely scratched the surface. But yeah, I didn't know it was like such like a visual novel kind of situation going on with like a lot of like static screens and a lot of dialogue and talking and story. But it's been very interesting, a very cool story, cool characters,
nice, and
a really fun premise with lots of mystery and intrigue. So just a little little bit of a synopsis here. The main character, they live in this place in Tokyo, but it's like this like Tokyo complex place where it's like sealed off. Like they can't even see the sky. Like they're just in this like
interesting
sealed off city thing. That's all they've ever known. And there's these weird sirens that go off and they have to hide.
Oh, wow.
And they don't know what they're from even anymore. Like it's been so long with the sirens that they don't even know what they really mean, or if there's a real threat to their city or what. But eventually, these weird monsters attack. The main character gets brought to this academy thing outside of this Tokyo complex with a bunch of other people that they've never met before that are all like young student age people brought to this random school where they're forced to, or meant to be forced to fight in this war against these monsters in order to protect their home and eventually get back to their home. They're kind of held captive.
Okay.
And it's kind of a mystery as if why are we stuck here? Why is the place we live in this like protective dome, and like the first time they've seen this guy, they don't know anything about this world, this outside world, why they're there, why they're fighting what they're fighting, should they keep fighting what they're fighting, and then the person that brought them all there just goes missing after a while, so then they're really just left on their own. Like, what do we even do here? Some of them are trying to fight and some of them don't want to, and there's like a storyline there of like going back and forth. A lot of really fun, interesting characters, like over the top anime characters. They fight with this, like, they basically stab themselves in the heart and with this like blood dagger thing, and they get this, it's called a hemoanima that gives them power, and they like have this like transformation where and then they can fight.
Interesting.
It's very interesting and weird.
Right.
And the characters are very interesting. Like one of these characters, her name is Darumia. I think Darumia. She's this weird like kind of emo looking girl. She's all about death. She just wants to die, and she's always talking about when they first get captured, she's like, oh, we're all going to be forced to kill each other until only one survives. That's definitely what this is. And they're like, God, I hope that's not what this is. And she's just like such a wild character. But then there's like the classic kind of like angry guy, but he is also a little more complex and different than your typical just hothead dude. And a lot of like fun little tropes with their own little twists and turns on them. And so far, it's been a lot of fun, very interesting, or like I said, a really cool storyline with a cool like mystery that I'm interested in seeing. And I haven't had a whole lot of battles yet, but they've been a lot of fun, and the strategy between them is very good and interesting. And the way they fight is very unique in all their abilities. They all like hit and do different things, and there's like you have to worry about fatigue and being able to strike again, and when you're not able to strike and using final moves, but there's like you can use like this big move, but then you're left stunned for like multiple turns on end. So it's like, is it worth it? When is it worth it? So it's there's a lot, but it's definitely something that's up my alley, and I'm definitely really liking it. All the reviews are really, really good.
Nice.
It's got a lot of like 9s and 8s and 10s.
Wow.
And it's got like right now it's got like an 85% on Metacritic.
That's really good.
I remember when it was coming out, I had it on my list and I wanted to play it, but it happened to be releasing on the same day as Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Oh.
and that game
Ooh.
took precedent over it, and that's like one of my favorite
100%.
games of all time.
Yeah,
And
that game was special.
that game is something different. So I forgot about this game until a coworker of mine was talking about it, that he's been playing it and stuff, and I was like, oh right, I should go check this out. So I'm glad I did. It's definitely something that I really am enjoying, and I'm excited to keep playing more.
Oh yeah.
But what do you got for this week?
Oh, so for me, kind of like a little ritual before bed, like the last, hour, 30 minutes or so, I've been playing Hollow Knight, actually.
Oh, okay.
Hear a lot of talk about like Silk Song and how like crazy people are about like it, like about them wanting this game to come out, because it's been in development for years now. And we've not got a whole lot, but it seems like it's for sure coming out this year.
It seems like
yeah. It's like that seems the most likely we might actually get it this year. And I never actually played the original Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
like I have it on the Switch. I think maybe it was free on PlayStation, because I have it on there too somehow, and maybe it was on Game Pass. I feel like I have it on every console. I should just play it. And with the Switch 2 coming out, I just wanted an excuse to play more games on it, since there hasn't really been a whole lot.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, now I just love because like I said before in like the last episode, like I love the idea of the Switch so much, but I just hated like how underpowered it was. So it's like I never really wanted to use it. But now with like how much more power the Switch 2 has, it's like I like having it as a portable gaming handheld. So like I'm for sure definitely going to be using it a lot more.
Yeah, but, I have used it more in handheld mode too than I ever did with the Switch.
Yeah.
Because some of my favorite Nintendo consoles were the handhelds, like the DS and the DS Game Boys and all this. I was attached to those forever. So
yeah, right. Me too.
I love having a handheld Nintendo. It's just great.
It feels so good.
But yeah, I definitely need to check out Hollow Knight. Have you been having a lot of fun with it?
Yeah, it's really good. So I can 100% see why people are so crazy about it. Like, it has such a beautiful art style, like hand-drawn art style that looks fantastic. Like everything looks good. Like the characters are great, and like I really enjoy the storytelling, because it has the same kind of storytelling style as like a Souls game, like the FromSoft's games, where it's like things don't get explained to you like outright. Like you kind of learn things through talking to the different characters in the world, and you learn more about it through that. And then like you don't get a map right away either. Like they make everything really like hard. So it's like it's really difficult, but then it also feels a lot more rewarding that way too. But yeah, I just really like that, because like it has a really interesting world that I'm still kind of learning about as I go, and like I'm just really enjoying the art style, and the combat feels so good. Like it's basically like a 2D like Metroidvania style, but it has that same like kind of like Soulsy vibe too, where there's a lot of like dodging and like timing your attacks perfectly, because if you get hit like just a couple times, you can be taken out.
So I'm gonna be frustrated as fuck.
Yeah, it's not an easy game, that's for sure. But yeah, it's really good, and like I'm just because there's so much fervor around the sequel coming out, I was like, well, I should play this, because I do like Metroidvanias when they're done really well. And I've always been a huge Metroid fan, so I'm like anything in this similar style, if it's done well, like I love like action with like exploration, like I guess those really are my favorite kind of games.
Sick. Yeah, that's nice. That's fun. That's exciting. Especially exciting with the idea of the sequel coming out at the same time. Which we really thought we were going to see something, and we still haven't seen.
Yeah, right. We had these indie directs with the Nintendo. I was like, oh, this is we'll finally get maybe an actual release date, but no,
they didn't show it at all.
Yeah, right. But they'll show it in like the Switch 2 sizzle reel when like they're announcing it, and I was like, why are they what?
Yeah, especially considering how big of a game it is, like from the community, that they wouldn't like highlight it more. But maybe that's why it wasn't shown, because they just need more time or something. I don't know.
Right.
Next up, we're going to go into the all-in-one alphabet challenge. So, continuing off of last week, we did C. So now, obviously, we're on to D. So to start, let's start with music. What was your musical choice for D's?
DMX, actually.
Oh, X gonna give it to you.
Yep.
All right.
But yeah, he was my favorite artist growing up. Like,
that's very unexpected.
I
love that, though. I love that.
But I feel like my older brother really got me into rap music, and something about like just like his style, like it was just so like kind of angry, and like I just feel like like having a lot of anger as a child. Like I felt like this is kind of an outlet for that. I could just hear him get his anger out through his music, and I just kind of felt that as I was listening to it.
Nice.
And he just had like a really good lyrical style, and like just anything he could come out with anything, I would listen to it. But yeah,
that's so interesting. DMX. Oh, that's crazy. I did not see that coming at all. That's fascinating. What's your favorite like DMX album?
The fourth one, The Great Depression.
Okay.
Which is like, I don't know if that's most people's favorites, but like so that album, actually, I bought it. My grandpa passed away when I was in third grade, And he lived in Arizona with my grandma, and we all drove down there as like a road trip, for his funeral and all that. But I remember buying that album on the way back. I was like, we went to a Circuit City, and just kind of like when I was like, oh, pick out one thing you want. I was like, oh, I want this album. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I listened, like, have something to do on the way back. And then my little brother, it was kind of a random story, but he picked up Suikoden 2, which is like another like
that's random.
Like a random game, but it was just because it was one of those things where he looked at the back and it was like, oh, you could pick up or like you could have like over 120 party members, something crazy like that. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, that's cool, but kind of a little random. But that game is amazing, like
nice,
which was like such a random pickup. But like I'm so glad that he got that, because like being able to, that was one of the best stories I'd ever experienced at that point in my life. Like,
that's really cool how life brings all these things to you.
Right. It was such a random happenstance, but I was like, yeah, that game was something special too. But but like, so the Great Depression, I remember getting that during that time and be able to just like, I listened to that on repeat over and over, like on my little Discman back in the day.
Hell yeah.
but yeah, man, I loved it.
That's cool. I never would have thought that. I don't know why, but that blew my mind a little bit. My choice, which I thought maybe would be something you would have said too, knowing you're like for this kind of genre, but is Daft Punk.
Oh yeah.
So I absolutely love Daft Punk. They're like obviously this awesome electronic duo. They were really influential and big in music in general, and not just to me, but like in the industry. Like they really helped popularize and bring more like listeners to like house music and fucking EDM and all that kind of stuff. So plus
that's probably what got me into it, honestly.
Yeah, they were huge, right? And like they have had many influences into this just pop and hip hop and this all kinds of music in general, not just
like one of my favorite soundtracks was the Tron soundtrack that they did. And I was like, oh my, it's so good.
Yeah, Daft Punk is just awesome. Plus, they just had this really cool like image and persona, like they're the mystery of who they are, and they're freaking, the heads that they wear, their helmets and everything. So cool. They were so cool, and their image has also just been influential to people and things. A lot of people have like drawn inspiration from that and stuff and things. So, but their last album that they ever put out before they eventually broke up and called it quits was called Random Access Memories.
Oh, yeah.
And that album came out at a time where, I don't know, it was really special to me. It was also during a time like it was one of the few albums I actually owned at the time. I'd lost a lot of things. I was going through a lot of things, and I only had a 3 or 4 different albums that I was really listening to because I physically owned them, and that was one of them.
Nice.
And I just love that album all the way through. It's not only does it just sound great, and it's got obviously great production, great songs, like catchy songs, fun songs, but it's also like there's interesting storytelling in it too. And I don't know, it just kind of has like this crazy like amount of like nostalgia for me now for that era of my life and getting me through like some really tough, depressing times in my life.
Yeah.
So I will forever love Daft Punk for that, but also you can see their influence in so many things, either being used in beats or in hip hop, or just influences in other things, or people that have been influenced from them and inspired them to do what they do. Daft Punk is they're legendary, they're iconic, and I would love for them to one day make a come back and do more stuff because I love them so much. They're so cool. And yeah, they was just like, filled me with energy too. Kind of like how last week we were seeing with Chromeo was a little bit how I felt with Daft Punk, like giving me that energy, that hype. I would have loved to have seen them live. I'm sad that I never got to. I watched like, clips of them like performing live and stuff, and they're funny too. Like their banter back and forth and their stupid little things. Oh man, they're just an iconic duo, so cool. And I love Daft Punk. Next up, video games. So I'll go first with a video game that is. So I last second changed this. Originally, I had Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, nice.
I love Donkey Kong Country. It's awesome, and its music was great, and it was a fun game, and it was it was pretty big for me growing up, and I loved that whole series. The whole Donkey Kong Country series is great. But I just beat and played Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Oof, yeah.
And I have to pick Donkey Kong Bonanza. Not only because I think it's obviously like it's newer and fresh and like a superior like game in that front. Obviously it's come a long ways. There's a lot of, new cool things in it. But it's a lot of those things that I feel like are actually inspiring me. Versus Donkey Kong Country, like I played and it's a good time and had a great soundtrack and fun it was hard too and fun and whatever. Like I loved it, but
Yeah.
playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, I've actually like already got a lot of inspiration. Like their level design is so good. It's crazy. The way they keep the ideas fresh, and with each new zone that you drop into, each new layer, having new things that keep the game play like innovative and fun and challenging. And these unique transformations that Donkey Kong goes through that just keep, they keep it going throughout the whole game. It never feels stale. You never like, you're almost always getting something new in each stage. There's never like, oh, you just maxed out everything and now you're just going to go through the last couple levels with just everything and it's all kind of the same. Like it's never like that.
Yeah,
it
it's
also
really impressive they pulled it off like that.
For reals, literally. And it also, I'm not going to spoil because I know you still haven't quite got there. But it has one of the best endings.
Oh, I'm so excited to get that.
Ever. Like at the ending level, from when you get to the end, there's a thing that happens and then you go through this last like final levels. They're so crazy and fun. And then it keeps going and going and going. And then there's like I can't really say too much without spoiling things, but basically fun twists, fun callbacks, really cool like level design, and a fun like story moments and stuff that really like I didn't expect.
Yeah.
And heartfelt moments too between Pauline and Donkey Kong. Just really, really cool. And I loved that this game was able to do that. And that stuff like there is, I really find like, really like impact me. Like it really leaving an impression on me already. I can already, thinking like this is what I want to see more from Nintendo, and I'm like, oh, I hope they do like a movie of this somehow. And like, it's so fun, so good. And yeah, like, it's just ridiculous. This game is super, super enjoyable. I'm still working on 100%ing it. And yeah, I'm definitely going to 100% this game. It's so freaking good that I had to put it here. But what's your game?
So I picked Devil May Cry, actually.
Nice.
And
okay, hell yeah.
Out of all of them, like, even though 3 is probably my favorite, like, just gameplay wise, and probably story and everything too, but the first one, the original one, was one I feel like I've always loved action games, but I feel like it was such a unique thing when it did come out. Like there was times where I'd play through that game like 3 to 4 times a day in its entirety.
Nice.
Like,
holy shit.
Yeah. Like it's a pretty short game, so you can beat it pretty quick, but I would just play through it from start to finish, like 3 or 4 times a day, because like I loved it so much. Like Dante was such a fucking cool character.
He's an icon.
And right. And like, yeah, and like just the action felt so good, and it was just like my type of game where it was like I'd always love like the more actiony titles, like growing up, like playing like Mega Man with like the side scrolling and action, Contra and things like that, and then like always loved beat 'em ups too, like with like the Ninja Turtles that came out back in the day, and then Double Dragon, Streets of Rage, like those types of things. And like Devil May Cry just felt like the perfect like kind of like bringing that genre like into the like the modern times back when it came out. And like so it was just such a like a good modernization of like that kind of like beat 'em up genre in a way, where you're just like stringing combos together with like your different attacks and taking out enemies, and like it just felt so good to play. And like I loved all the characters, and like the music too was so badass. Like I loved that game so much.
Devil May Cry. The first Devil May Cry game I ever played was DMC.
Oh, nice.
And that game was a lot of fun. I know I feel like it got a lot of hate for some reason.
Yeah.
But that game was a lot of fun. And the characters were weird. It was weird characterization of them, I guess. And that's probably where more people got the issues from. Very, like, angsty. I mean, Dante is his own.
Yeah, right. So I was like, honestly, like, I was, like, probably in the minority of that, where I loved it, like, because I went into it hating the idea because I loved the original so much, and I was like, this isn't my Dante. Like, he's so like weird, and I just don't like the style. He's more like an emo. Like they lean into the emo a little too hard with this character, I felt like. But like after actually playing it and then experiencing the world that they created in that, I was like, this is actually really fucking cool.
I really enjoyed it. It's unfortunate that it was so received, because definitely like we're never returning to that.
Yeah, right, which is sad.
But like, and then I played Devil May Cry 5, which was really fun. And crazy,
amazing.
And it's been quite some time since then, so we're due for a sequel. So hopefully we're getting a Devil May Cry 6 soon. I mean, Capcom's been on their on their shit lately. They've been coming out with all kinds of things.
I can't wait for the new Onimusha too. Like, God, that's another one where like I felt, man, Capcom was hitting in the PS2 area.
Yo, they literally were. They were peak during that time, and it feels like they're really trying to get back to this. I can't imagine that we're gonna wait too much longer for a new Devil May Cry, and the anime was out fairly recently. I haven't finished that still. I need to.
Oh yeah, it's so good. That's so good.
I've been having a good time with that show, but it makes sense. Devil May Cry is huge, and I know a lot of people were. This funny thinking about this is Switch. A lot of people were hoping to get Dante in Smash at one point, and maybe one day, but
hopefully,
who knows?
If we get a Switch 2 edition of Smash Ultimate,
yeah, right. And then for movies, next we're gonna go movies. So for me, this is one of my favorite movies. And I feel like it's a lot of people really like this movie, and it's The Dark Knight.
Oh, yep.
So The Dark Knight, obviously, it's the best of the Nolan Batman movies. One of the best Batman movie, if not the best Batman movie ever. It's up there for sure. Between it and the newer The Batman, I really, really enjoyed that Batman. Especially because I just really like that Gotham in that universe. I like the aesthetic. But The Dark Knight just really was amazing. And I really do like Christian Bale's Batman. Obviously, we have the iconic Heath Ledger Joker, which is like a transcending performance, right? Like, and it just really, like, it made Joker so much more important and bigger character than he ever was, because he was already obviously an iconic Batman villain, but it made like playing him in a movie and making the movie version of Joker so much bigger and like a task. It's hard to want to play a Joker, live action Joker, knowing you're going to get compared to Heath Ledger, because he was just so iconic in that role. And but yeah, obviously it's a really great comic book movie, a really great movie in general. I'm a huge Batman fan, so yeah, that movie was just like top. It was a peak movie for me, like amazing.
That was so good.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we didn't get more of that Joker because Heath Ledger passed away. I still really do like The Dark Knight Rises, but obviously it's a step. It's not as good as Dark Knight, and Dark Knight will just forever be like this special movie. Partially because it has that performance in it, and we never got more of it. But in general, outside of that too, just looking at everything else in the movie, like that scene where we first get Joker with the bank robbery and all the people in the clown masks is like so fucking cool. Yeah, and I just really like all the scenes with the way they could do like the Harvey Dent situation and stuff too was really good. That movie is just great, and it's been so long since I've rewatched it. I need to rewatch that movie.
Yeah, same.
I should rewatch the whole trilogy again. Honestly, it's been a minute.
God, it's been a long time since I've seen it too.
But yeah, that movie's fantastic. Love it so much. What movie do you have for your D?
So, in the spirit of like the Naked Gun movies, after seeing the newer one recently, and then just being in like just thinking about Leslie Nielsen and all that, like the movie I picked was Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Okay.
Which was a movie he did. It was Mel Brooks directed, so like it was Spaceballs and all those kind of goofy, like kind of satirical type of things. But yeah, so it's kind of like a satire on like the vampire, like Dracula type genre, but just with his classic humor. And like it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I was like, man, I love Leslie Nielsen and everything he's done, and I remember that movie being so hilarious. Like,
that's interesting. I haven't heard of it, to be honest.
Yeah,
but that's an interesting choice. I love that you're always bringing like some interesting things I like to hear, because I don't know a lot of where you're going to go, and so it's always fascinating to hear this. And I like those older like classic comedies like that, because it's something that like until like for instance this newer Naked Gun movie that came out fairly recently, I feel like a lot of modern stuff either gets completely wrong or is too afraid to do.
Yeah, right.
So I like some of those old, like seeing clips from old movies like that. It's always like so funny to me. I'm like, yeah, they knew what they were doing with comedy. And it is for some reason this isn't hit as well in this generation, or people just can't replicate it as well anymore. But maybe we'll see a resurgence.
Right? Yeah, I was like, I definitely believe in it now after seeing that new Naked Gun. Man, it was so good.
All right, so last is our TV show for D, and this one I say for last because just like last week, going with video games with the Chrono Trigger, is I'm going last for this one because this is my biggest influence of these, and so I want to say it for the last, which is Dragon Ball Z.
Nice, yeah.
Which again, if you know me, you obviously know I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z and the Dragon Ball franchise. I love it so much, and even though it's very flawed and I'll pick it apart just as much as anybody else, it's still something that I cannot deny its influence on me and the world and so many people, but like particularly just from personal experience, Dragon Ball Z helped shape a lot of my youth and like my likes and stuff. Like it was pretty much like my first real anime. Like it was like Pokemon and Sailor Moon.
Nice.
But Pokemon I didn't even really register as an anime to
me.
Me
too.
So but like Sailor Moon I definitely was, but like, between it and Sailor Moon it was like my first like real anime. I was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z. It's what got me into watching more anime, and I wanted all the toys. I had a bunch of toys, and that really helped open up my imagination and my creativity. Like back then, I wanted to make stories, and I still do, but you know, I would play them out with action figures, and you know, getting inspiration from the show and from the characters themselves and toys, and we'd make our own. Me and my brothers, particularly me and Anthony, would literally make our own little like shows with the characters, and make them our own characters and make up our own stories and our own things that have influenced things that I write now. But it really just opened up this whole big world of creativity and imagination for me, just because of how much I end up falling into the story and the characters and the art and everything about it. You know, I even tried to draw a little bit back in the day. I was terrible and quit pretty quickly, but I was just obsessed with everything Dragon Ball Z, playing the games, the shows, the movies. Like one of the first movie I ever bought was Dragon Ball Z, the Return of Cooler.
Oh, nice.
Or is it the Return of Cooler? Yeah, whatever one.
I think it was.
Yeah. But like one of the first movies I ever bought. Because obviously, like I said, I loved Dragon Ball Z, and I loved those movies too because they were all just so cool. Even though they didn't fit into canon, it was just like cool seeing them. Cooler was. Because of that, Cooler is one of my favorite Dragon Ball Z characters, especially even I want him to be canonized so bad.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're never going to get that. But like in the official Dragon Ball stuff, I know that there's like apparently everything's canon now. They've kind of saying, and like there's the whole Dragon Ball Super, not Super, but Dragon Ball Heroes world where they mix with all this stuff, and I don't ever know what's going on in that, but like all the characters and everybody's involved in that somewhere. But in like actual Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super lore and stuff, I would love to see it Cooler brought in like they did with Broly. But back to what I'm saying with its influence on me, basically I want to write stuff so bad that one of the first things I ever started writing was like a reimagining or remake of Dragon Ball Z. Starting with Dragon Ball, it was like I loved it so much, but I also saw a lot of the flaws in it or certain things that I didn't like how it treated or used or didn't use side characters, and you know, some of the villains, and like I said, the non-canonizing of movie characters. And so I wanted to rewrite stuff or write my own version of it where I would canonize those characters and go into some of the lore more that I wished was explained and explored more, like the Saiyans and their race and what they did back in the day more, and a lot of that stuff. So a lot of the first things I started really writing and getting into was like doing a whole remaster, and in my head it was like, oh, it would have this, you know, upgraded, more mature like tone and doing all these things. But it wasn't like ever like because I hated Dragon Ball Z or didn't like it. It was more of like a love letter to it and just putting my own thing to it. Now I have a whole new franchise I'm working on that's, you know, it's an own original thing, but it's, you know, very inspired by Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. And I pull off from it because that's just how much Dragon Ball Z has impacted me, that like I think about it all the time when it comes to anything I'm doing, when it comes to writing or creating or anything, just because, you know, it's a huge part of my life. I don't think I go a day without thinking about Dragon Ball Z. Every time I go to the store, I go looking for a Dragon Ball Z toy to buy, if I can find one, if there's something that I like, and collecting them, because it just has so much meaning for me and my childhood. And I love Akira Toriyama, R.I.P. He's a legend and hugely influential to, you know, plenty of other mangakas and people in that time, like, you know, Naruto and One Piece and all that stuff, like, wouldn't have really been the same if it wasn't for Dragon Ball Z and Akira Toriyama. So Dragon Ball Z, definitely one of my biggest influences, and so that's why I had to be here.
Nice.
What do you got for shows?
So for mine, I picked the original Dragon Ball.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I was like, always, I mean, I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan too and all that, but yeah, it was something like I felt like the original Dragon Ball was so special just because it was a lot more a lot more grounded than Z got, because like that was my only issue with Z was like I feel like everybody got too powerful.
Yeah, power scaling went crazy.
Like Z didn't get, like, Z wasn't too bad. Like it definitely got crazy near the end, but
Super was worse, way worse.
Super just got crazy. But yeah, I just like really loved like Dragon Ball, and like just like the fun kind of like adventure story it was trying to tell, and like they had such a good cast of characters, and but yeah, just like with Akira Toriyama's art, and just the way that some characters would just be like a random like dog walking or something, looks like a bipedal like humanoid looking dog, and it was like, wait, what? Like
that's that's where like I love that stuff too so much, and I feel like it fell out way more in Dragon Ball Z, and then obviously in Super 2, but like it was like, yeah, back then like the president of the world was a dog, and like that character and that. And animal people and all that stuff, and like dinosaurs existing was like almost never played a part as much, especially later got into it. Like there was still some of that in Dragon Ball Z for sure, but it slowly played less and less of a role. And that's something that when I was making my own reimagination, like imagining of it, it wouldn't have. I love that aspect of it. And I think that's why both of us are really liking Daima so much, because it really captures that old school Dragon Ball feeling of just like adventure. It's not about the fights and like powering up and stuff, though it still has some of that. It's just a lot more about the adventure. And we really need to finish that show. We do. It's so crazy that we've seriously we watched so like close. Most of it, and then we just have fallen off so bad. And yeah, I definitely need to get back into. I basically know everything that happens already because the spoilers are unavoidable at certain points, but I still want to watch through it and see it myself. Same. Because I was surprised with how much I liked Daima, because at first I was hesitant, and I was like, I was like, what are we doing here again?
Yeah,
like,
right. It's kind of weird.
Going back to a kid, like it feels like a wannabe GT again, or like a redo GT situation, and how often are we gonna make them kids, and what are we gonna do? But it honestly, it was better than I anticipated. I liked like just the story of it, and the fun adventures of it, and the exploring the new world and the new lore. Lots of cool new lore being added that I wasn't
expecting all that too.
Yeah, I think that's really fascinating, because I feel we don't get as much of that with Super. They kind of just blow through stuff just to get to fights and stuff, even though there's a lot there. I'm like, I want to know more about the other universe's Planet Vegeta and the Saiyan race, and like how that works and other things. But instead it's just like, oh yeah, you get to see that exists, but we're not going to talk about any of it. And I'm like, no, I want to know more about these universes. Like I want to know how, like, the world stuff, not just them fighting.
Right. But yeah, it has a lot of interesting ideas there, and then they don't really get fleshed out.
Yeah. So who knows what will happen with the future of the Dragon Ball universe. I'm hoping, even though Akira Toriyama has passed, that it still moves on. He kind of left ideas in some good people's hands and stuff. So hopefully we definitely see more from the world of Dragon Ball, whether it's a continuation of Super or a brand new thing, or a sequel to Daima or whatever. I hope we get more, because I love that franchise, even if it's flawed. That was fun getting through the alphabet D's. Now we're going to jump into some Switch games, and more so not games that exist. These are more of like what we want to exist, right? I made a list of things I want. It's a long list, and like how I would approach these games. But before we jump into that, I'm gonna let you go first. Give me like what's like one of the big titles that you really hope we see on the Switch 2? What's something that you're really looking forward to?
So it's like it'll for sure happen at some point, but like I really want a new 3D Mario. Okay, because that's one of those ones. It seems basic, and I never really realized it until Mario Galaxy came out. But I was like, 3D Marios are probably my favorite. Like they're the absolute pinnacle of the genre. They're always like immaculate, like amazing games.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Like with the only real competition like recently being Astrobot that came out last year, which was absolutely fantastic, and then with Bonanza this year, I'm like, okay, well, yeah. So with Bonanza coming out, and like it has like Mario 3D Mario has like some pretty good competition, with Astrobot and Donkey Kong Bonanza, but like it's just those games are always just something real special, and they always do something really cool and interesting with Mario, like like with Cappy in the last game.
And, which is so cool.
Yeah, right. Like being able to like take over enemies, and like being able to like control a Tyrannosaurus like as Mario. Like I don't know, like that was insane.
And seeing it with a little mustache on the time, so funny.
It's so funny. I love it so much. I just love that little like the Nintendo charm they have.
Yeah, and like they always do surprise me with how good the next iteration is. Like, when every game has always been, like, all the mainline Mario games have been fantastic. And then, like, I remember when we went from Sunshine to Galaxy, it was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, how are we ever going to, like, top this? And then Galaxy 2, which a lot of people, like, it's more of the same, but it was just better. Mm-hmm. It was just, like, further advanced. And then it was like, okay, well, where do we go from here? And then Odyssey was like, holy shit. Like, I don't know. Like, it's like a downscale in a sense, but it's like, honed in, and they didn't need to do like a Galaxy 3. They wanted to do something very different, and they nailed it. It's like, yeah, perfect Mario game. So it would be fascinating to see what they do next, an Odyssey 2 or a brand new thing. If they jump back to Galaxy, who knows what we do. But either way, I know that it's their flagship title. They're going to do it well. It's just a matter of time now, because I know, like, obviously most of the team was building this Donkey Kong Bonanza game. Yeah. So
it's like, I wonder how long it'll be. If maybe, I'm like hoping maybe like there was a small section that kind of split off and they were like kind of working on like a prototype or something maybe. So they have something kind of already built. Like, so I'm wondering if that's the case, or if, maybe they're starting from scratch now that Donkey Kong's done.
I mean, who knows? It's been so long. I can't imagine they've only been working on Donkey Bonanza since Odyssey. It's been so many years. Like, they came out in,
was it 2017? I think it was, it's 2017. Yeah. So it's been, 8 years now?
Yeah, so long. Like, and you've only done Donkey Kong Bonanza? Like,
yeah, so something's got to be cooking right now.
Yeah, I hope. So for me, like, obviously, I have so many games that I want, but the first one I'm going to mention here is a new Zelda game.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. I love The Legend of Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom wasn't that long ago, so I imagine we're still probably a couple years out, but it wasn't too long between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, though they did, use a lot of the same assets. But how I would approach it, so this is where I want to get into, like, some of my details here. So, I really want it to be like another direct sequel. I want to do like a full trilogy. We've never had a full trilogy like that in the Zelda universe, and I think it would be really cool. Now, how you do it is, like, obviously at the spoilers for Tears of the Kingdom, I guess, but at the end, you don't have any of those powers anymore, right? He's fully healed and restored. His arm's normal. Sheikah technology isn't gone, so I think that's good. I think that the next game, we don't need game-breaking, crazy superpowers that we can do anything with. It's a lot of fun. It was so much fun being able to do everything you could do in Breath of the Wild, and then being able to, in Tears of the Kingdom, just like combine things and do all this stuff, right? And fly through platforms and whatever. But I would draw back way on that. So this is my pitch for my idea. So it would be like some princess from a foreign land shows up asking for help. Her home world or home land has been conquered by some sort of dark force, and she needs assistance. She's begging for help. They decide to at least potentially help and investigate. Link goes on a ship with a crew of people to go investigate this land. She stays, with Zelda in Hyrule. So we get a whole new land. So that way it's not literally just the same Hyrule again. You're getting a whole new, not Hyrule to explore. This could be really fascinating because, one, it's a whole new area, obviously, so you'd have you wouldn't have to worry about, like, oh, we're just traveling to the same places again, like we did in Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and you can introduce and do anything you want, so new races, new whatever. But basically, when they go, their ship would be destroyed, they'd be stranded there, and then Link would, the big like kind of gimmick or thing on this is Five Powers is that Link would have partners, which you kind of get a little bit in Tears of the Kingdom, but like fully fledging out like partner people in like a base camp, kind of like, I would have it be a little bit like Red Dead Redemption, in the fact that you have like a base with people that you talk to, and then as the story progresses, that base will move as they continue to explore. And it'll be open world still, and you can kind of go wherever you want, but maybe certain areas you just can't reach until you unlock a certain thing. Like, part of it would be going to dungeons and getting new items. Like, oh, you can't access things until you eventually get the grapple hook. You don't have a grapple hook at first. You're just basic whatever. And so it'd be more like the classic Zelda games, and having dungeons, unlocking new items and stuff, or new abilities, or finding new people to have new party members that can access new areas as you explore and go through this world. And there'd be like, areas of darkness or whatever that are like maybe blocking you from going certain areas. So it's still open world, but yeah, you literally can't just go everywhere you want right at the front. And that's okay, Nintendo.
Yeah, right.
Like, have a narrative. So that way we can have a more focused narrative. and not like this jumbled up mess of like just past memories and whatever and storylines things. Like have it actually be something that would have a narrative. And then the big thing I would want would be you being able to play as Zelda too. So if you remember Wind Waker, Tetra gives Link this little pirate's charm that she talks to him, and the King of Reliance talks to Link through too, like this little stone. So you'd get a stone like that where you could talk to Zelda. And the princess, basically the dark, whatever is happening and take over this place starts happening in Hyrule. And so at certain points in the time, you'd have to talk to Zelda and switch to Zelda and play as Zelda, going to investigate these dark things that are happening, popping up, introducing new like dungeons and things in the mainline Hyrule. So you'd still have that whole Hyrule that you've been to before that you can potentially explore, but now through the lens of Zelda and through some new, darkness things that are bringing fresh new enemies and new dungeons to that Zelda would go through. And then you could play with it too and give her like some new Sheikah staff or object that gives her powers similar to what she was able to Zelda could do in Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah.
So instead of her, and she would have a whole different playstyle and playset than Link. You wouldn't be able to turn into Link or whatever like you can in Echoes of Wisdom, but she would literally just have her own unique Sheikah items and stuff that she can use. Maybe wouldn't work exactly the same in Echoes of Wisdom because that gets pretty broken, but maybe similarly, or else she would also just have other powers or things she can do. Maybe give her a Sheikah slate. I don't know exactly, but she would have her own set of abilities and how she plays that would be completely different than Link. And so you would have these two different storylines and two different characters you play through as they switch through, and you'd have to switch back and forth to progress the story. So like, Link can't progress any further until Zelda goes into this dungeon and completes it, and then that changes something in the world for then Link to now progress further in his storyline. So on and so forth. So you go back and forth, and then, like I said, you'd get new partners, so maybe you can have some of the heroes, like the champions from the previous game, like Sidon and Riju and whatever could be with you, or maybe like a, some sort of Sheikah person or some new people you could introduce. But then eventually the big twist is that the princess that came to you is the villain. They've already conquered that. They showed up there and they're starting the stuff in Hyrule, and then Zelda has to fight them, and then Link finds his way there eventually, and then you guys team up and defeat this new villain.
That's a
and
really
save
cool
it.
idea.
But like that, I think would be cool. And the new things I'd introduce also, something that I really hope we get is like a crafting system.
Ooh, yeah.
So instead of like, merging whatever weapons we want into things and whatever, like you can collect materials and craft weapons or armor and things like that, and actually be able to craft like new armor sets, because that's something we don't really have in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, right.
New weapons, new items potentially you have to just craft, and then also this further and expanding on the cooking system. So adding new ways and new things you can do for cooking, because I think it's a fun thing in the games is the cooking, but I want it to be just like, I'd like it to be a little more advanced. It would be fun that way. But yeah, so you would have dungeons, you'd have your storyline like streamlined, you'd have being able to play as Zelda, crafting, all these things. That's exactly what I want. Now, are we going to get that? Probably not.
Right.
But
yeah, it sounds like a perfect blend of like that classic Zelda and the new Zelda. Like, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think it would be really, really great to have, full dungeons back, and like limiting Link again to having to unlock new weapons and powers and stuff, and not like just be given like crazy absurd abilities.
Yeah,
it does add to the freedom of it, but then the freedom is too good in those games where it hurts the overall storyline and progression of the game.
Yeah.
And so I think dialing back on that by keeping a lot of the same other parts of it, you can find a good balance somewhere in there, and that's what I would want to do.
Nice.
So the next game I have on here on my list is Pokemon. Ooh. So obviously we know Gen 10's coming at some point. I don't have a whole lot to say about Gen 10 outside of I just hope they do good. Like, please make a good game and don't do what you did with freaking Scarlet and Violet.
Like, hopefully they learned.
It's like, please just have a fucking good game. Take your time and like put like love into it. I want to be able to play it and be blown away like I was with Donkey Kong Bonanza and some other Nintendo first party games. But it's like, I don't know what's going on with them and Game Freak, but it seems like Game Freak's just not in it anymore or something. I don't know. They're just
weird.
Don't fucking care anymore or something. I don't know what's going on. But the main thing I'll say with Pokemon is that I do hope we do continue with the remakes of the older titles. And I think next would be like Black and White. And I just hope that we do something more different. And obviously a style that I really like is that HD 2D graphic style, and I would love to see a Pokemon remake in that style.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing the sprites again and having like little fun little animations with them and all that in that style would be fire.
So sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 100%. Like that's, if they do a remake, that's the way I'd want it to.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Do you have another game on there that you want to see?
Oh, honestly, the only other one I had was Zelda as well. Like he's like, we know what's coming, but like I also really hope. Yeah, it was like the same, pretty much the same. Like you say, it was like I obviously didn't have quite the same ideas, but I wish I want them to do a trilogy because like like you said, we haven't had one before.
Yeah,
it's like with them, like really fleshing out the story in this version of it. Like I feel like like a sequel would be good. Or
yeah. And I think we're getting close to getting to play as Zelda too. So even if it's not the way I say it, I do think it's a real possibility that we get to play as Zelda.
Right? Yeah, because I feel like Echoes of Wisdom coming out the way it did. I feel like that was such a good indication.
Yeah. Then like even with the Hyrule Warriors game, like Zelda's the main character.
Yeah,
there's Link's not even there, right? So like, as far as we know. So
like, shoot, what if it's literally just set in the past?
Yeah. So like we're getting to a point where maybe that's something that could happen, and obviously I love their like smaller Zelda games too, like Echoes of Wisdom was a fantastic game. Loved it. So I got a couple more games. So I'm gonna talk through them a little bit, and you can tell me how you feel about them.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite franchises and a series of Nintendo's is Fire Emblem. Absolutely love Fire Emblem. Looking forward to a new one. It hasn't been super long, but like the last big one was Fire Emblem Three Houses, which was like a new peak for Fire Emblem. It's a fantastic game, introducing a lot of cool elements that we haven't had in previous thing with like there's a whole school aspect and like training there and building relationships and talking kind of bringing a little more like Persona-y stuff into it a little more, which I absolutely loved, and I want to see more of that. And then you really just expanded on everything that was good about Fire Emblem and adding more stuff. And then the most recent Fire Emblem game was Fire Emblem Engage, which is like a step back. And it feels like a lesser version. It almost feels like a side game or something. I don't know. It's nowhere near as fleshed out and as nowhere near as much production value put into it, and also nowhere near as much like advertising or push for it. Really, the game was fun, but it's definitely one of the weaker Fire Emblem games I've played, and it's nowhere near as good as Fire Emblem Three Houses. So I would love for us to get another big, huge, great Fire Emblem game like Fire Emblem Three Houses that really just continues to push into that lane that they're going to, and continues to push the envelope on what they're adding to Fire Emblem games and just really expanding on it, because it was so much fun. And with that, and with also we know that we have Hyrule Warriors coming out, I would love another Fire Emblem Warriors game, because my favorite of the Warriors games being from Zelda or Fire Emblem was the most recent Fire Emblem one, Fire Emblem Three Hopes, Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, which we played a lot of together. And that game was super fun for me personally. I loved it, and I loved how much they were able to integrate Fire Emblem stuff into it with the classes and being able to upgrade them and change them, and weapon levels and things like that. Was really, really cool, and that game was just an absolute blast. I love these style of games. They're just so fun, so I would love to see another Fire Emblem Warriors game of some sort. But yeah, absolutely love Fire Emblem. Look forward to more of those. Also, they did this series not recently, but they had like a remake series that they were kind of starting with, Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, which was a remake of like their old Fire Emblem Gaiden, and it was really cool and really good. And there's been rumors for a long time now that they're going to have another one of those a remake of one of the older games. And then every year goes by, they keep saying, "Oh, that's definitely coming out. That's a big rumor." Like everybody's thinking, like, "Oh, we've seen the leaks or whatever the heck." But nope. Every year it hasn't happened. So it's just as freaking elusive as like the idea that they're coming out with an HD Wind Waker and Twilight Princess together. Like there's been the same amount of time of them rumors, and the years go by, and they're just nothing. So I really hope that they do more remakes, because a lot of those games, like that first one, were only released in Japan, never made it to the United States, and it'd be dope to see them obviously completely remade and upgraded and stuff. And I love Fire Emblem games, so being able to experience the old ones that I didn't get to play would be really cool. I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, and it still blows me away like how popular that franchise has gotten. Like,
yeah,
because it went from being like such a niche, tiny little title to like being like almost like, I wouldn't say like a household name, but it's like so many people like love this game now. Like, love this franchise.
It had a Final Fantasy moment where it was gonna be done, like it was gonna be over, and then the last game like that was gonna be it, which was, I think, Awakening.
Yes,
yeah, and it just completely saved it. It sold more than all Fire Emblem games combined in its first like week or month or something. It sold so much compared to like everything else, and literally saved the franchise.
It's so cool.
That game was great too. I love that game, and I love Fire Emblem. And I was so glad it was saved because I just love Fire Emblem so much. Now back to Mario. Another Mario kind of game I would love to see. It's not like a mainline Mario, but I would want to see more Mario RPGs.
Yeah,
I love RPGs. I love they've recently done some remakes and remasters of like Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
Those are both really good.
Two of my favorites. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door especially is one of my favorite games of all time. And so particularly I would love to see a return to form for the Paper Mario series. Paper Mario has not been the same since that game.
Yeah, seriously.
Way less than those games. And so I just want a classic RPG style Paper Mario with fun storyline, a funny storyline with cool characters, cool partners. That's really what I really want, because like all the other games just have no partners characters, and it's like so unfortunate because like I love the cast of characters in Thousand Year Door.
Yeah,
they're so fun and so cool, and the storyline's really good actually, and funny too. The humor in the RPG series of Mario
they're so good.
Are always so good, and especially back in the day. And I would just love to see a return to form of those because people want them, and that's why they've released these makes. And I hope that they sold well and did enough to make them really start thinking about bringing them back.
Right.
So fingers crossed we get a new RPG of some sort, whether even if it's not Paper Mario, even if it's just like a new regular Mario RPG of some sort.
Right.
If it just has that style and that sense of humor. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, because I was like really bummed to hear like how like how poorly received that Brothership got, the Mario and Luigi one. Like, I was really looking forward to that, because like that Mario RPG series is kind of dead. I know the original developer, like, they got shut down, and so I was like, man, but it was exciting to see that, announced, because like, I kind of say it was like, oh, like they're really like bringing back like all the Mario RPGs. Like, I thought they never would, like, never just touch any of those again. But when they remastered, Mario RPG, and then Thousand Year Door, and then we got Brothership, I'm like, oh whoa, like Mario RPGs are coming back. But then that one kind of missed, so I'm like,
I know, it makes me worried. It makes me worried.
No.
I still want to play it myself. I still haven't, because I just heard it was pretty lackluster, and obviously time's limited, and I only have so much things I can play, so I haven't gone into it. But like, part of me wanted to buy it just to
to support it.
Yeah, just support it so they keep going.
Make more RPGs.
But it's like, who knows? Also, with talks of Mario, obviously have the Nintendo GameCube Virtual Console, and the latest edition was Mario Strikers.
Oh, yeah.
And after playing that briefly, I'm like, I would love to see a new Strikers game. Yeah, it's fun, right? And I would like to see it upgraded and like better, like add more, stuff to it. And I hope that they would stick to it, like the core of what that game is a little more, because the characters are crazy in that game, and the way they fight and do things, and like their finals are hilarious and like outlandish. Seeing the Mario characters do that, and I feel like they would make it like way more like lame if they redo it and do it now. Like, I feel like it would be lack its soul of what was in that game. Right. I hope not, but I would love for it to be brought with that same like vigor it has, and like
same
that the same just like kind of savagery that's in that game. It's wild.
Like, it's so surprising. So I'm like, oh my god,
it's so crazy. But it's like, oh, I love this. Like, it's fun. Obviously, the game itself isn't the best currently, because it is an older game, and trying to play it modern now, it's like, I can see what they're going for, but I would love to have and play like a newer one. And I know there hasn't been one for a minute, so I would like to see that come to pass. Another one that I have on here that I think would be a really great idea, and I know there's a fan base for it, obviously, is F-Zero.
Oh yeah,
I love F-Zero. I remember really enjoying F-Zero GX back in the day on GameCube. As I said last week, when I tried to play on a Virtual Console, I sucked horribly, and I don't know if I get back into it. But if I played it enough, I'm sure I could. But I would just love a brand new entry. I think those games, especially back when it came out, like graphically it looked really good, and the particle effects and everything were so cool. So like it's something that could really push Nintendo to do graphically, which is something that they've been talking about more with the Switch too. So seeing what they can really do with like a more realistic game like that, plus it's like this fast-paced, crazy racer, a unique world, and crazy cast of characters. Their characters are crazy and outlandish. They're fucking insane. But also, I think would be really dope if they did like a story mode that was more of like an action adventure kind of story mode
that'd
with
be really cool.
You know, really embracing Captain Falcon as a bounty hunter and going into, you know, his adventures as that and doing stuff outside of the races. And then you can, you know, have moments where they lead to him having to get into races or you know, some sort of driving missions. But you could have all kinds of crazy storylines and adventures with him outside of it, as he's like maybe investigating some sort of nefarious group involved in the races that are doing stuff behind the scenes, and he's, you know, beside doing the races, he's doing research and stuff outside of it and hunting people down and tracking things and doing whatever he's doing. I don't know, but I just think it'd be a really cool idea, especially because now he's most known for being in Smash Bros and being a fighter and having fight moves and stuff. So
taking Falcon Punch is so iconic,
literally, which obviously had no base in anything because he was just a guy in a fucking car, like, you know. So that's the stuff they just made up for his Smash Bros. But it'd be cool to bring that and introduce new stuff for him in a physical way, you know, as a bounty hunter, and exploring that aspect of the character. And it would be very unique, I feel like, to have a game with an action adventure storyline, but, you know, also have like all these fun racing aspects and a literal just racing game within it.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. We would like kind of like customize and build your car with items you find in like the world and
yeah, exactly. Like, that'd be sick.
It actually got me thinking too with bringing like just like a franchises that don't really get a lot of love. Was like, we haven't got a new Star Fox in such a long time.
Yeah, literally.
Which is like, I was like,
so
feel like
long.
He doesn't get any love anymore. And like, it's like, I think it was Star Fox Zero. Was that the last one?
Yeah, that's not even like a new one, right? It's like it's more of like a kind of make of like an older one, wasn't it?
Honestly, I have no idea. I was like, I didn't actually end up playing it because I heard it wasn't too great.
Yeah,
like,
the performance was kind of janky on it, I heard, but yeah, it's like, because I loved Star Fox 64 and like I played that so much, and like I know like one of my buddies I went to school with, that was like one of his favorite games, and he'd beat it like so many times. It was like one of those games where he said there was a summer where he played through that game, like he beat that game almost every day during the summer. Nice.
I'm like, that's insane to beat that game so many times, but you could, because it was just so fun to play. Like it just, like, I feel like the gameplay loop never got old, and it's so simple, and it's just like, you know, typical like kind of on rails like space shooter, but like it was so well done, and like they never really did that again.
It's
like,
and it's sad, and some of these franchises, like I know that they have, you know, there are only so many people in this company, and there's only so many time they can dedicate to, but it's like, then outsource a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Like, get some third-party companies to help you make these franchises, and they have done it a little bit. That's why we're getting Metroid Prime, you know, and things like that. So do some of that with Star Fox and with F-Zero, you know, and some of these other franchises.
Yeah, there's so many talented developers out there that could make an amazing Star Fox game.
Literally, like, it would, and this world of Star Fox has so much potential too. Like, even if you want to do, you could do like a classic only shooter, but you can also do a thing that would be more of an adventurous thing as well.
Right.
It's got
like that Star Fox Adventures on the GameCube.
So you could do more of that too, and you can even build like your own Star Wars like universe, but with Star Fox. You know?
Right. Yeah, seriously.
Like, that would be like absolutely sick if they did something like that and explored more of the universe and like the fun worlds that you can go to, but also have it like, you know, plenty of shooter aspects and space battles and stuff. Like, there's so much you could do with that IP that they just haven't in years, and it's crazy,
right? Like, why not?
So a couple of things on here that I have. One, I just want to mention, because I've said it before, and I'm going to keep talking about it. I love HD 2D graphic games. I love that style.
Same.
It's fantastic. So, also another thing that I think that I want to see is a JRPG Legend of Zelda game. And I think mixing those and doing a JRPG Zelda game in the HD 2D style would be fantastic. Link is the perfect silent protagonist. for a game, and your
Right.
party members would just be members of these different races that you'd find, kind of like the champions in Tears of the Kingdom, but it'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, you can get a Goron and a Zora and a fucking Deku Scrub and a Rito and whatever. Eventually Zelda. And they would all have their own, you know, kind of like class and their own like play style and moves that you'd get, but then you'd explore through a brand new Hyrule, you know, created in this awesome a 2D HD graphical style, and play like a traditional RPG. And I think the world of Zelda would just easily fit and translate into that. It wouldn't even be that difficult. And just you can just fucking have Square make it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, right.
Like,
they do such a good job.
Yeah,
Super Mario RPG,
it would be literally amazing. And we're getting something kind of like, it's not a JRPG, but it's similar to Zelda in 2D HD style, HD 2D style, with this game that was announced fairly recently called The Adventures of Elliot, which looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I want to see I want to see The Legend of Zelda in that style. And I think I would think an RPG version of it in that style would just be so fantastic, because I just love JRPGs, and I can just imagine all the possibilities of you could do, and just exploring a Hyrule in that graphical style would be just like so freaking cool. And speaking of that, like, I think if they did some sort of remake or remasters or a brand new entry like that style of either and both of Earthbound and Golden Sun, would also be fantastic. Like, you can just remake Golden Sun and some of those games in that style, or just do a brand new entry in that style, or just a brand new entry that's not in that style. I don't care. I think Golden Sun deserves to be brought back. But particularly, I think it would be really cool in that style, and a similar style for Earthbound would be really cool too. It doesn't have to be the exact style, but like, you can almost go like a Deltarune with Earthbound too, and it would be cool. Like, that kind of style.
So it's like, man, if they ever really want to bring Mother 3 to the States, like, that's how they should do it. Like, if they just did a full-on remake, like, remaster, and like, oh, it's finally coming to the States, but in HD 2D, like, that would be really sick. Yeah, and I've never really played those, like, you know, Earthbound or Mother, any of those games, and I would love to, especially if they did, like, you know, a remake or remaster of them, and especially in that style, because I want to play anything in that style. Yeah, because the story in Mother 3 is incredible. Like, it blew me away. Like, we're playing Earthbound, and it's got a fun kind of, you know, kind of goofy style to it, and it's got some, you know, like some pretty serious tone to it. But like, Mother 3, like, kind of blew me away. Like, I wasn't expecting it to go to some places it did, but I was like, it has a really special story. They should honestly get the team that did do fucking Deltarune and what's the first one? Undertale. Undertale, yeah, just Undertale and Deltarune. Like, they should just get them to make a fucking Mother game or Earthbound. That would be really sick. Because I feel like those games are definitely inspired a little bit by those games. Yeah, 100%. I think he straight up said it too. Yeah, I mean, it's super apparent. Like, I think this thing of the character design and just the style and the goofiness. Obviously, it's like way more extreme now in like Undertale and Deltarune than I feel like the humor is way off the charts compared to like back with Earthbound and stuff, at least from what I've known of it, though they definitely still had some of that quirkiness too. But I would love to see just like more from that, and that'd be fun if they did a little collab to do a new Mother game. That would be really cool. All right, so the last game I want to talk about that I want, and that is probably an inevitability, is Super Smash Bros. Oh yeah, 100%. So the DLC for Switch 2 Edition Smash Bros. Would be sick. Upgrading things, adding new stages, maybe some new characters. If we were to do a completely new series, you know, Sakurai had said basically like, we won't be able to do what we done this time with Ultimate again, like having all these third-party characters and all these things. So that's fine. I think that focusing in on the first party characters and just really expanding and changing how they work and play, and just really fully developing and changing how Smash is would be the step to go. Not like changing it drastically like the gameplay in general, but upgrading the moves and stuff, because these new DLC characters, what they're pulling from and their mechanics are crazy compared to like the initial base roster of Smash Bros. And I might even eventually make a whole separate like mini video at some point where I just completely go into how I would completely do a Smash Bros. What would be my entire roster and how I would do their moves and ultimates and stuff, because that would take me plenty of time in itself just to go over. But just some quick ones that I have here of things I would do. I definitely think that a basic character should be updated, like Mario and Luigi, and some of them definitely need update to their movesets and how they work. They
didn't really add anything from Odyssey to Mario, and it's kind of hard to. Obviously, you're not gonna have Mario throw his cap and take over people. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
But you could definitely use the hat more as like a projectile. He doesn't have a move where he throws it, and being able to throw it and keep it there and jump off of it like you can do in Odyssey would be a really great recovery move. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can replace like his cape move with something like that, where he throws his hat and he can reflect your projectile still back at them, and then he can also keep it there and use it as a platform for a second or something. Yeah. I think Luigi's moveset they could definitely update that and pull stuff from Luigi's Mansion a lot more. He has literally like almost nothing from that outside of his grab, I think, or something, his like the vacuum.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But there's almost nothing pulled from any like of those games into his moveset or who he is as a character in the game. And there's definitely stuff you could do. I don't know exactly what, but there's definitely stuff you could do and pull from their other games in general, like they did with all the other DLC characters, really pulling like these niche little connections and stuff into movesets. And that's something that they haven't done at all with their base characters, and so I feel like those characters definitely do it. Obviously, there's an entire range of side games with Mario that you could pull stuff from: Mario Kart, sports, RPGs, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, part of me wants to do like a whole new character like that, like a Paper Mario character.
Yeah, right. Which he should get separate forms the same way Link has, Toon Link
and that would be definitely sick. But one for sure I think that they should do, especially now with it being, a more recent game and popular, is just like a small or a mini Mario that will fight using power-ups and things from the Mario like side-scrolling franchise, like Mario Wonder and stuff like that. And this will be small, like when Mario doesn't have any mushroom. Because when he has the regular mushroom, he looks like regular Mario.
Yeah.
But this one would be like his base form would be the small little Mario, like you got hit, and or you start off the tiny one, and then his moveset would use power-ups from that game and other games, from Wonder and other games, and then maybe there would be a way to cycle through them, or it automatically cycle, kind of like Sora, where he used spells, and then the next time he uses a different spell, then he used a different spell, something like that, but for his power-ups. And then in certain ones maybe it could just be set to like, his down smash is the elephant from Wonder, he uses something like that or something, I don't know, but taking all these different powers that he has, some of them, not all of them would work, and some of them could just be like items that you can grab, add it as an item in Smash Bros. But I think building a moveset around all the potential power-ups and things, and then also his base moves can use like his hammer and stuff that he uses in a lot of the RPGs, because Mario doesn't use the hammer in his fighting at all in the base roster or base Mario, but making one that takes more of those I think would be a fun idea. And I think it'd be justified. Like I said, there's multiple Links and things, so why not? Then, speaking of Link, I think Link is a character that could obviously... They changed him a decent amount, actually, for Ultimate, with Tears of the Kingdom. Not Tears of the Kingdom, but Breath of the Wild stuff. But I think now, after Tears of the Kingdom, we should get a Tears of the Kingdom Link. Yeah. So, how exactly you work those things in, not everything's going to work. Like, being able to merge weapons and stuff and making... I don't know, might not make sense. But, maybe he can do a special up B or something instead of the Sword Slash. Maybe the Sword Slash is on the ground. If he jumps, then he can rise through platforms or something. Yeah,
that would be cool.
There's definitely interesting things that you can do. Plus, his design would be different with his arm and everything. You can have some other costumes where maybe he doesn't have that arm, but that arm was cool looking.
Yeah, it is.
And there's definitely things you can pull from Tears of the Kingdom now and add to his game and play and to how he works as a character. And then, obviously, like, as far as new characters go, like, I think Waluigi should be definitely an additional character.
Needs his moment.
He's waited long enough. I think Donkey Kong needs to be completely reworked, especially with Donkey Kong Bonanza being out.
Right.
Like, the way he fights in general is, like, a lot of slaps, and this one, he's a lot more just punching and rolling and stuff like that. And I think putting all that, even his, like, pulling the ground apart, like, obviously he's not going to smash stages apart. Yeah. But his down B can be like pulling a chunk of the ground, but even if the ground doesn't actually get destroyed, but he pulls it and holds it.
Yeah.
And kind of like in they can have different properties still depending on what you pull, kind of like
kind of like the Steve from Minecraft.
Literally, exactly like that's the thing. And so, and then he can even have ability once he pulls it out, like the freaking turf surf and stuff like that on it.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
And then I was thinking like it might be kind of broken, I don't know, but like I think it would be cool if he had a meter that built up and then he can transform. So instead of it being like his ultimate, it would be like a form kind of like Joker or like Cloud even building that meter up to unlock a special attack. And Joker goes into the persona form. So it depends on how long exactly it would take, and then when it does go off, obviously, it's only a certain amount of time, and you can, when you're in that form, you can transform and you can switch between whatever form you want, and they all have their own specials. So you can be Donkey Kong Bonanza, the Zebra Bonanza, and all the other ones, and they would all have their own abilities that you can use. And the one drawback would be obviously you do more damage and whatever, but you're bigger and you take more damage.
Oh yeah.
So your knockback wouldn't be as bad. You'd still be heavy, so you wouldn't have a huge knockback. But once you untransformed, your damage would rack. So then at that point, you could get destroyed pretty quickly because you're going to take a lot more damage.
Oh yeah.
Potentially. So at least there's a drawback to him just having crazy OP powers.
Yeah, that's a good call.
But I think that would be like a really cool mechanic. And even if they didn't do the Bonanza thing and it was just like left to a ultimate, they definitely should change his moveset to reflect Bonanza more, because he fights a lot differently in that, and just like using the rolls and his punches and the smashes and pulling the ground apart and stuff like that. Like all that could definitely be used into his moveset. Now, when it comes to Zelda characters, I think we need more. I think there's not enough representation. I think that we could change some of the. So this is probably where I'm going to lose people a little bit in things, but Ganondorf needs to be completely rehauled. Oh, yeah. And I don't think that's controversial to say. I think most people would agree with that. He's just like a weird semi-clone of Captain Falcon. He's changed a lot since then, but even then he's still like, you can still feel it a lot, and it's weird. And now he's got plenty enough stuff with Tears of the Kingdom to really just build a brand new character that would be Ganondorf. And then I think you can do a Zelda differently and build her more like Tears of the Kingdom stuff with her look and all that stuff too. And then it's like, then you could do kind of young or teen or classic, you can call them, versions of those characters. Okay. So you would have Tears of the Kingdom Link, and then you'd have classic Link, which would be in the green tunic and fight with more of the typical weapons and stuff, and more like the old school Link, or like young Link, or even like Toon Link. And maybe he can have costumes that are Toon Link and Link, but also kind of maybe having a shell-shaded Link that looks more like Link's Awakening or Echoes of Wisdom.
Oh, that would be cool.
And then you'd have a Zelda that would be similar to that. And then that one would have, a moveset built on Echoes of Wisdom and things like that. And versus the other Zelda would be more of Tears of the Kingdom-y, and that kind of thing. And then, so there'd be difference. And then you could do a Ganon, not Ganondorf, but like a Ganon built like the old classic games where he's like just a big boar man.
Oh yeah.
But like do him like more of a toon or a cell shitty look, so he's not like gigantic. Obviously they downscale characters all the time, like Ridley and Bowser and stuff. But it'd be cool to have like modern Zelda, Link, and Ganondorf, and then a classic Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf. And if that means you have to cut Sheik, I'm down. I like Sheik, but at the same time, I think Sheik would also, at that point, if you did cut her, she'd be a character that people would want enough, then you can make as DLC and get people to get it. Kind of shady in a sense, but kind of like Street Fighter. It's like, oh, classic characters like Sagat are back now finally in DLC. It's like, yeah, we wanted them from the get-go. But,
right, this should have been here already.
You can maybe do that with Sheik if they feel like there's too much Zelda. And this is, like I said, I feel like this is where I'm probably going to lose people. So maybe those people would be fine with like 6 Zelda characters. Zelda's a huge franchise, and they're kind of, it's 2 Links. There's already been 3 Links at one point, so that's fine. Yeah. And Ganons and Zeldas, but I think they're unique enough that they'd be justified. But I would want more. So I think that there's a lot of cool side characters that deserve a shot, like maybe even Roru, who's going to be playable in this new Hyrule Warriors game. And he's just got a cool design, and he looks sick. And obviously will have some sort of moveset now that he's going to be a playable fighting character in the Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, it would be a good choice.
And then obviously some of the champions. And there's obviously you wouldn't put all 4 champions. That's too many people. And but I think like Riju or Sidon or both would be really cool. Like Riju is the Gerudo with the swords and lightning abilities. That's sick. Sidon, fucking big Zora with a trident. He's dope. Obviously, like I would love to like the Goron is cool, and the Rito is cool too. But I think if I were to had to pick 1 or 2, it would be between Sidon and Riju. I think they're the coolest ones and more of the fan favorites. I feel like too. But I definitely just want more Zelda people in it, even if it's also old school characters pulled. Like a lot of people were like hoping for like a Midna or a Zant or whatever, Majora's Mask, like a Kid Skull Kid.
Oh yeah.
And anything like that too would be cool. But like just picking from modern stuff, like that's who I would go for.
Right. Yeah, I was like, they definitely did give Zelda more love.
And now, Pokemon is another game I want to touch on. So Pokemon's always like there's always more Pokemon. There's a lot of Pokemon in the game. I'd maybe even cut a couple, but I wanted to add new ones. There's always new stuff to be added. So I think an easy Gen 9 Pokemon that would make sense, and we don't have one, is like a grass starter, so like Meowscarada.
Ooh, yeah.
A super popular character, bipedal, fights a lot, would fit really easily into Smash Bros. Too.
Mm-hmm.
And would be like the first grass starter playable fighter, since we have Charizard and Infernape, or not Infernape, but Charizard and Incineroar and Greninja. And if you put Charizard back into the Pokemon Trainer, like solo ones, we have Greninja, we have Incineroar, and now we'd have Meowscarada, so we'd have all three starter types.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be cool. Now, obviously, I think the easiest way to add more Pokemon is to add another Pokemon Trainer type person. So either it's like a rival Pokemon Trainer, or like a rival, like a villain team grunt or something. Either way, you could introduce new Pokemon that way in a trio of Pokemon that you can switch between. And so I like the idea of both of them, like a rival and or a grunt of some sort, like having a villain grunt and then giving them like more darker or like typical used villain character, like a Pokemon would be fun. But the idea for character that I think is the best for Pokemon, that I think would be really cool, and there's no way they do this probably, but it's like, I think I'd take this over any of those ones I just said, and especially because I love Legends. Arceus is taking the main character from Legends Arceus, and that's who you play as. It's like the actual trainer fighting. Yeah, because it's dynamic. You're running and you're jumping and stuff, and you're throwing Pokeballs, but then also all of his moves and specials would be utilizing Pokemon, and especially like the Hisuian forms of Pokemon, so he can like dash forward on a fucking Hisuian Arcanine and hit you, and then like his down B can be like his down special could be like the fucking Hisuian Electrode that blows up, and then his up special could be like the Hisuian Braviary that they use to fly on, or whatever. Yeah. Or maybe like the Hisuian Arcanine can not be it, maybe it could be a Weirdeer. That actually makes more sense. You literally ride a Weirdeer.
Oh, right.
And things like that. Pokemon that he uses rides and whatever Pokemon he attacks, he can, his charge, like a charge up, a special attack, and boom, turn into that Sneasler with his claws. And and he'll like attack for you or something, and they'd just come out and hit Pokemon. Like Pokemon would come out and attack and do things for your specials, or when you fully charge up a move or something. But outside of that, he would still run and jump and hit, and like you can projectile throw Pokeballs at people. They don't have to release Pokemon, but it's just like you literally attack them by hitting them with Pokeballs or something, cool. And then you can do like charge it to or switch it to use like the light ball that goes hecka far but does less damage, or like the heavy ball that's like short range but does a lot more damage.
That's a cool idea.
I think that would be really fun and embody what the Legends games are, with a lot more movability and jumping around and doing stuff, but actually having that Pokemon trainer do the fighting, which would be fun.
Right, that would be really cool.
And the last couple things I have on here, obviously Fire Emblem I love, but there's a lot of Fire Emblem characters, and I think if I were to redo it, I would cut some out for this newer one to focus on newer characters, or just focus on the other characters and add newer characters to it. So like Chrom and Roy and Corrin would probably be cut. I think I'd keep Byleth just because Three Houses is so popular and cool and like new, but I'd probably add like Edelgard from Three Houses into it potentially, because I think she's one of the more popular main characters from it, and she's cool. And if not, also I think like adding, I think his name is pronounced Shez from Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, like the main character of that, and he fought with the dual swords and stuff like that, and I've always wanted the dual swordsman. So if we're not going to get Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia, then I'll take him from Fire Emblem, because at least it's something dual swordsman. I would prefer to have Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia. That would be cool. Sick. But and then obviously there's a lot of other characters and stuff I'd add or do and change, but like I definitely think like Sonic would be the only like real third party I think that would stay or should stay if we're going to get rid of third party stuff, and like Knuckles, Shadow, Robotnik would all be easy picks to join the roster. Kind of surprised that none other Sonic characters were in it. Yeah,
honestly.
It's like, wow, there's like 2 Street Fighter characters, but 1 Sonic character.
Right,
like,
what's that about?
Weird. And then like adding like the main protagonist, I think his name was Noah from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 into it would make sense, because updated, we had Shulk, we have Rex. Well, not really Rex, but Pyra and Mithra Rex is there in the background.
And I think Nintendo actually owns that company now.
Yeah, they're basically Monolith Soft is like part of Nintendo, so it makes sense that we'd get the the next protagonist in the franchise.
Right.
And then like I think Isaac should join finally from Golden Sun, or at least somebody from Golden Sun, but it should be him. And maybe update Samus depending on what is in Prime 4.
And maybe a little Metroid Dread too.
But yeah, and like the Emmy bot thing, I think that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, I think so. EMI.
Yeah, EMI. That thing would be a cool character.
Mm-hmm. Those things are creepy.
Mm-hmm. And they're cool. So a lot more stuff I would do and change and stuff, and a lot more to say about it. But I've talked 1,000 years already about my roster, and like I said, I might end up doing a small video, even if people don't want to hear. I want to talk about it more about how I do Smash Bros. But those are just some of the changes and some of the characters I would add. I just really, really, really love Super Smash Bros. And I really want to see a new one, and I just don't think we're going to get one for a while.
Yeah, right. Because I was like, some people were speculating that the reason why Sakurai is making Kirby Air Riders is because, like he said, he's basically like, he's not going to do another Smash Bros. But maybe he told Nintendo, hey, if you let me do another Kirby Air Riders, like, I'll make you another Smash, but like, I want to do this first. So like, all right, you can do what you want, but you gotta get us another Smash. Like,
and if that is, even if that true or not, like they're not gonna make Smash without Sakurai. Most likely, it'd be crazy to do it, and he's obviously been busy. So we're a long ways away from a new Smash. That's why there is like, that's why I do have my fingers crossed that maybe they'll be able to do a Switch 2 edition of Ultimate at some point. Maybe once he's finished Air Riders, he can do something added to it real fast just to give it something. Kind of like what they did with Mario Kart 8, adding DLC and stuff for a while to keep people enjoying Mario Kart until we eventually got, this new Mario Kart World. And something like that to hold fans over Smash Bros. Until one day we get a new Smash Bros. Would be good, because we need something to revitalize the game a little bit.
Seriously.
Obviously, with all these newer editions of games and like new iterations of games, there's a lot of changes and stuff that you could do to Smash Bros. And its characters, and I hope that in the future that they do put a lot of more work and love into the older characters that they've had, instead of just copy paste their movesets and their abilities and stuff. And I really hope we flesh them out just as much like they did with the DLC characters, because they go crazy on these DLC characters.
Yeah, they do.
And I think the base roster needs that kind of love too. There's so much more they could do. Like even with Pokemon, with like terrestrialization being added in Scarlet and Violet, you could add that into some form, like maybe via like a new Ultimate, or having them Gigantamax as an Ultimate or something, or I don't know. There's so many things you could do from these newer games that you can add to from like most of the franchises. A lot of new stuff that happened in Pikmin 4 that could be changed or added for a new Pikmin character. Even
we need Ochi.
Yeah, right. Like
Ochi in the new Smash Bros.
Why not? I mean, if we have Duck Hunt Dog, so good. And there's obviously a bunch of third-party games and stuff that I would still like to see, even if I know they say that they probably won't have third-party stuff. It's like there's still so many that could and should be added and be able to fit into the world of Smash Bros. So even if they had to do different ones, and we didn't get the same ones again, like a lot of the same roster just didn't return, but you added new ones, especially from like indie games, and I think that'd be a cool way to highlight indie games.
Yeah, seriously.
Pulling a lot of like indie characters into there would be really, really cool. But yeah, that's all I have for a spiel for Nintendo games, what I'm hoping for. Obviously, a lot of those are like, I'm Delulu thinking that they're going to be made, but like, if anything like those, like in those games in this HD 2D style, or a Zelda game, how I would sing, or, any of those innovations added to Smash Bros. Characters, any of those coming true would be fantastic. And I'm just waiting for something about any of these franchises, especially some of the dead franchises that haven't had, a new entry in the series in years. Getting anything from them would be really, really cool. And Nintendo needs to drop something.
Yeah,
give us some information.
Right? Yeah, they're being so tight-lipped for, I don't know what's going on.
Before we go, one final thing before we finish this up. What's the series that hasn't had a game in a long time that you would want to see from the most?
Interesting. Shoot, like first party Nintendo?
Yeah, like first party Nintendo. Like, I mean, we mentioned some already. It could be one that you already mentioned. Like, is it Star Fox? Is that what you'd like to see more, or would you like to see, a return of like Mother more? Like, what one would be like the one that would hype you up the most?
Yeah, honestly, it probably would be Mother, because like I have enjoyed Star Fox, but like especially like because like I won't lie and say like I've never been like the biggest Mother fan. You know, like I really enjoyed playing Earthbound, but it wasn't until I played Mother 3 where I was like, oh my, like that, like the story of that game blew me away. Like it's insane. Like it's so like adult almost for like the way the game looks. Like you wouldn't expect it, but I was like the game was like constantly tugging on my heartstrings in ways that I never expected, and I was like, it really hit, and I was like, it was so well done, and like I would just love to see more of that because I feel like that's such a like amazing franchise that gets nothing. Like,
and people have been so long,
right? And people have been clamoring for like an official translation for Mother 3 for so long, and like Nintendo's like, nah. No.
Yeah, Nintendo really does not listen to fans. I don't know why they
really
don't. They don't care about us. It seems like,
right? They just do whatever they want, and we got to deal with it.
Yeah. For me, I think would be the most hyped about Golden Sun. I almost said F-Zero, but like at the end of the day, I love RPGs more than anything, and getting a new Golden Sun would be really exciting for me. I think.
Yeah.
Even if in that HEG style or just in a brand new modern graphics, whatever case would be, I think I'd be really hyped to see a Golden Sun come back. And then before we're not first party games, but what we know that Duskbloods is coming.
Yeah.
Right, and that's a third party franchise or a series, a third party game from a completely third party and exclusive to Nintendo. What would be a game we would want to see, or like a company we'd hope make a game exclusive for Nintendo? That's not something that's not Nintendo owned already. Like back in the day on GameCube, we had Resident Evil 4 for a long time. It was exclusive.
Yeah, it was
that's
supposed,
crazy.
It was supposed to stay exclusive to GameCube.
That's crazy to think about, right? Like that Nintendo had Resident Evil 4 exclusive. So, like, but with it on the table again, Nintendo competing actually now and potentially getting third parties. What is something that you're like, oh man, I would really hope to see this company or this game franchise be brought back for Nintendo.
Yeah. The game company that immediately came to mind was like, I would really love to see Kojima Productions do something for Nintendo. Like
that, I couldn't even imagine that.
Right?
So crazy.
It's like I have no idea what he would do, but like Kojima is just, that guy is crazy. Like he has like, he's like one of the most creative minds that like I've ever been familiar with. And I've always been such a huge Kojima fan ever since the original Metal Gear Solid on PS1. Like that was such an important game to me, and where like I remember it was like the first game I bought with my own money. And like it was totally on a whim too. Like I just saw like a demo kiosk at like a Funko Land back in the day, and just being like shook, being like, whoa, like this is so cinematic, and like I just never anything like I'd experienced before. And I remember like that game just floored me, and like I didn't know games could be like that. Like the way it like told the story like in the form of a movie almost. And like at the time it was way too above my head. I didn't really understand a whole lot of it. There's a lot of like heavy political themes and all that, and I was like, I don't really understand what's going on, but like I know it's cool, like but man, yeah. And especially after like playing Death Stranding 2 recently, which has been phenomenal. Like, and I know he's working on OD and Fizzant, which are supposed to be, I think OD is like exclusive to Xbox, and I'm not sure if Fizzant was PlayStation or if that's multi-platform, but it seems like he's doing something for everything except for Nintendo. So I'm like, what could I just to get excited about like what he could do, because I know he would do something interesting with like the portability of the system.
Yeah, like, that's what I'll say. I know he would like touch on like the unique mechanics of the console.
So yeah, I'd really love to see what he could do with it.
That would be exciting for sure. For me now, I would like to see what Capcom would give Nintendo exclusive. And obviously they're not going to do Resident Evil again or whatever like that, but it would be cool if they revived this franchise and had an exclusive on Nintendo, and that is this Rival Schools.
Oh yeah.
It's such a unique fighting game and a cool idea for a fighting game, and I think that would be an interesting game to, one, just be revived in general, but if it also came and it was revived as like an exclusive Nintendo thing, because one, it would be exciting, and it would also get people that are old fans of it to want to get a Switch too and be interested in it. Like that would be cool. Or just some other game like that, like a Power Stone or something.
Oh god, I love Power Stone. Yeah. I'd lose my mind if they brought that back.
Like that would be like exciting, and especially if it was like a Switch exclusive, because it would force you to have to get one to play this, and those are like cool, like old school fightings that are like Power Stone's like a really fun party kind of fighter.
So that would be the perfect for the Switch.
Especially, you know, without having a Smash Bros. It'd be sick to kind of have something like that, you know, like
right.
And Rival Schools is like this unique 3-on-3 school fighter thing. And it would just be it would be fun to see those games brought in there. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of things Capcom could do. Something they already had a good relationship with Nintendo.
Yeah, right. Making the old like Zelda games back in the day.
Yeah, and then like, you know, the Ace Attorney games.
Oh yeah,
and things like that could, you know, and other things like that. They've always worked with Nintendo well too. So, or if they did like an exclusive Monster Hunter, but it was like Pokemon,
that would the monsters. Be really cool.
Like that would be crazy. Like you're fighting like Pokemon inspired monsters.
That would be so sick.
Like that would be like the hypest shit ever. But yeah. Anyways, before we wrap this episode up, go ahead and give us something that you're looking forward to coming out soon that you either want to play, watch, or listen to. That's got you excited. What's something coming out?
Relating back to Kojima, it's actually well, he's not involved in this one, but that Metal Gear Solid Delta comes out later this week.
Oh, nice.
And like I said earlier, I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid fan, and I'm still a little apprehensive just because Kojima's not involved, and I'm like, I've heard like a lot of good things. People are saying it's pretty much 1-to-1 remake, and Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of my favorite games of all time.
Nice.
So it's like I'm looking forward to it for that, but like I'm a little worried just because like from like I feel like I've seen some other people like feel the same way, but like after seeing the trailers and stuff, it kind of feels like the soul of the game is lost. Like it's hard to explain, but it's just like the way some of the cutscenes are shot. I'm like it's like missing the cinematic flair that Kojima has. Like I feel like he's so good at like editing his games to exactly his vision.
Yeah.
And like I feel like they're trying really hard to replicate that, and they might pull it off. I'm not sure, but it's like it doesn't quite feel right in the trailers. Like
it's missing that Kojima magic. Yeah.
Like it looks like Metal Gear Solid 3, but doesn't really feel like it.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see till you play it.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna play it, and I'm excited just because, man, like when one of my best friends got married, he asked us all like what our favorite video game moment was, and he ended up making us each individually like a shadow box depending on like, you know, what the moment we said was. And like I didn't know that at the time that's what he was gonna do, but I told him it was like the ending of Metal Gear Solid 3 was like my favorite video game moment of all time. Like there was something just so cinematic and just like heart wrenching, like gut wrenching, like in that moment, like when you like the relationship between Naked Snake and then Big Boss, or the boss actually, because he becomes Big Boss later.
Yeah.
But yeah, like their relationship was just so like sad and tragic, and like it was just like, man, like he did like the cinematography in that scene was like, this is why I love Kojima. Like he knows like the exact shots to take to make you feel something. And I was like, he did such a good job with that, which is like, I know some like he talked about like these newer games too, like he just loves making you feel things, and I was like, I think that really like made me really feel something in that moment, and I was like, I'm nervous, but I'm also really excited to experience that again.
Nice. I've never played Metal Gear Solid 3, and I probably will play it now, this remake, and we'll see how I feel about it. I've wanted to get into Metal Gear Solid a lot more. The only one I really ever played was Twin Snakes on the GameCube.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which is the first one, right? Just remade. And that game was really cool. And I really liked it. And then I wanted to play the other ones, and I just haven't got into it, or haven't gotten to them. I just never gotten played them because I don't have an attachment to that series, so I always end up playing something else or moving on and just letting them slide by. But I've always heard really good things, so I'm definitely going to check out Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Hell yeah.
For me, something that I'm looking forward to this week, and I think you are too. You just you're not thinking about it yet because I'm not going to say it, but is this D&D campaign we're doing.
Oh yeah.
So it's been a long time since our initial creating of the characters, but finally coming up here, I think the end of this week, we're actually going to be starting. It's been a long process of creating everything because you're the one, I think. Have you played D&D before?
A little bit, yeah. So
you played a little bit, but the rest of us that are playing in this group have never played Dungeons and Dragons before. So it's very new for all of us and exciting. And not only have I never played, I've never DM'd, and now I'm going to be DMing this. And it's scary and it's exciting and it's fun. But the thing that's also taking this so long and it's so interesting is that being the giant Nintendo fan I am, I've decided that it's going to be Nintendo related and not actually in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. So
yeah, such a cool idea.
I've taken Dungeons and Dragons and twisted it into Nintendo. So I've reinvented classes and races to reflect Nintendo. For instance, Beats' character, he's playing
I'm a Kokiri bounty hunter.
He's a Kokiri bounty hunter, which is Kokiris are these little elf people from The Legend of Zelda. They literally are children of the forest. And then the bounty hunter class is obviously inspired from the likes of Samus Aran and Captain Falcon, and things like that. And so it's just so fun and unique. One of our other friends is playing as a toad from Mario. And he's a toad plumber, so he's got like Mario like abilities. And but it took me a while to create all these classes and moves and stuff. And now I've been working on creating things for the monsters in the world, like the city that they're going to be into and the places they're going to go. And also like, I have to invent the enemies and stuff. Like I'm taking enemies from Nintendo, but I have to create their stats because they don't exist in D&D. So I'm using D&D inspired stuff. Much work. And so it's taken me a lot longer. And then I've also just had life stuff. My brother's been, living with me now kind of for a while. And so I've been spending time with him and stuff like that. And I haven't had as much time to like put into working on the D&D campaign, but I've been forcing myself to get back into it. And I've set this deadline. So it's coming up now real soon. And I'm super excited to actually start this campaign. It's going to be really fun. And you might hear more about it on this podcast. We might even eventually get to a point where we're recording some of it. We've talked about trying to record some of it. I don't know if we have the right material or equipment and stuff to record the podcast, not podcast, but campaign rather. But either way, I'm very excited to get started. I already have some fun ideas for twists and turns and stuff in the story, and I just had a lot of fun creating the creatures. It took a while to create like enemies and stuff in their stats, but it's a lot of fun doing it too.
Oh hell yeah!
And also just like creating the classes and everything was really fun. And I'm really excited to this play. I think it's going to be really cool, and I'm excited to see how all the characters interact. They're such fun characters that we've built, and the world is going to be fun. And I'm just.
It's going to be such a good time. I can't wait to.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. So. But that's going to be it for tonight's episode. So yeah, if you enjoy this, listen to my podcast, previous episodes. There's plenty to listen to in the back catalog there. And follow me on social media, on TikTok and on Instagram at All in One Discussion. And until next time, peace.
Peace out, y'all.